Part 1. Curious Encounters. Chapter 1. Born Loser. Snake eyes, shorty. Looks like you owe me. The orc's putrid breath blew in her face. His cocksure grin gave a good view of two long tusks. You're a piss-poor gambler and a worse liar. We both know you cheated, responded the small lady. She scooped up the dice before the orc could react. They rolled along the alley's stone floor, stopping suddenly when a single dot faced upward on each. Well, would you look at that? The orc rose up, casting a long shadow over the short woman. His broad shoulders brushed both sides of the narrow alleyway. Now don't get uppity 'cause you lost. A crossbreed like you should be happy to even play. Now pay up, or you'll spend some time with my buddies in the B. He bent down and extended an upturned palm. I know folks in these slums, too. She reached into her pocket. And don't insult my race if you know what's good for you. I'm trying to run a legitimate little business here. I don't appreciate the criticism from half-pints. He cracked his knuckles. Pull out that coin purse before I have to take it from you. Her reply came with a fistful of sand. Sorry, but I've got an appointment in the noble quarter. By the time the orc had cleaned out his eyes, she had disappeared into the distance. She vaulted over carts and slipped by pedestrians on mastless stone streets. Crossing the canal, the woman made a beeline for the Leone estate, home to the richest person in the city. Hard to believe a tip this good, but I can't pass up the chance to grab some gems. My retirement starts tomorrow. She smirked in spite of herself. Must be my lucky day. Stunned by the lack of security, she passed the estate's outer wall with ease. Surveillance out for repairs and guards on vacation. Everything's matching up so far. Can't believe that oaf spilled the details over a game of dice. Serves him right. Almost makes me sorry for his source. The tip's insight led her up a flight of stairs and into a large guest room. She slipped a strip of metal into the keyhole, moving it until the door slowly swung open. After confirming the room was unoccupied, she started tearing through boxes and bedsheets. To her dismay, there wasn't a coin or gem anywhere to be found. Her search screeched to a halt when she heard metal boots and saw lantern light creeping under the door. City guards threw open that door in time to see a silhouette smashing through the second-story window. Clearing the estate's walls, she fled into the slums. Empty, all empty. Visions of bare shelves and gemless drawers raced through her head. The wallets were missing and the cabinets were ransacked. Convenient that I showed up just in time to get caught. The woman glanced to either side before diving into a narrow alleyway. With the help of her dark cloak, drab brown skin melted into the shadows. Though stocky, she moved with the speed and stealth of a hunted animal. Her wide feet quietly maneuvered along the puddles on the damp ground. She snuck into a small shack, carefully closing the door behind her. Making her way across the room, she ducked through a cloth curtain. Behind it was a dim, sprawling chamber. This massive space was somehow concealed in a shack half its size. Thick streams of incense smoke hung in the air. Shelves lined the walls, each stacked with a different enchanted item. Glowing blades, living cards, and blighted beasts. The shelf's contents were held in stasis by lines of orange gemstones. The room's far end was packed with circular cushioned chairs, and sitting on one of these seats was a middle-aged woman. The low lighting obscured her features, but her proportions identified her as a human. "Are you Mother Mercy?" asked the visitor. A slow, raspy voice responded. "My business is giving second chances. Information is my currency. Explain your past and I'll help you escape it. My name is Gold Drunkerat Lux, and my business is burglary. Well, it was burglary." She shifted nervously. Mother blinked slowly. "I'll need more than that, dear. Tell me about your family. Why can't they help you?" "I don't know my parents. If I did, they'd get comeuppance for birthing a freak and dropping it in the streets." "A freak?" inquired the sitting lady. Gol removed her dark hood, revealing pointed tusks flanking her thick lips. Drab brown skin stretched across her stout frame. "Half dwarf and half orc. Half stuck up and half obnoxious. all alone. She raked 4 fingers through her utilitarian black hair, sighing. Mother Mercy wondered aloud. Surely this life hasn't left you completely alone. Got nobody I'd call a friend, either. The dwarf orc paused. Actually, I did have infrequent business dealings with a trusting tiefling. Our shared history and his good nature made for an easy source of income when times were tight. That Patsy was also good at talking me out of trouble. A grin sparked onto the lady's face. I love to see the monstrous races sticking to their own. Footnote: Monstrous races, a derogatory term used to describe tieflings, orcs, vulpines, kobolds, goblins, and dragonborn, distinct from civilized races such as dwarfs, gnomes, hinfolk, and elves, humans as well. Yeah, sure. Gol shook off the statement with the indifference of someone who's heard much, much worse. Recently he came to me for advice, rambling about ringing in his horns and images in his head. I took some copper coins for the consultation and haven't seen him since. Word on the street says that he's gearing up to find some sort of jewel. Interest piqued, Mother Mercy leaned in with hands steepled. What sort of jewel, dear? Gol shrugged. Wasn't paying much attention, really. Wish I had a fall guy like him now, though. This noble house ice was a bust. Worse still, I'm taking the rap for their empty coffers. Which house was it? Scarlet Stone? Gem Founders? Maybe the Earth Salts? Her pointed nose inched towards the dwarf orc as she presented each option. Big money. House Leonius. Gol bit her lip in frustration. I knew I shouldn't have trusted that lead. If I ever find out who's behind this, I'll knock their head off. She kicked a chair leg in frustration. Now I'm on the run, just looking for a way to turn a quick coin. Gol breathed out, visibly deflating. Mentally exhausted, she slid into the chair next to Mother Mercy. This may take a while, sweetie. Enjoy a pastry and calm your nerves. She waved a hand towards the small end table housing a square platter of sweets. Each one was a tight spiral of dough decorated with spices and dried fruit. Gol nibbled nervously as she watched Mother Mercy search the shelves. Eventually the lady took out a small box and laid it on the dwarf orc's lap. Inside is the key to your future. Gol opened it to find odd-smelling powders and colorful vials. There was a loud thud as the lady dropped the burlap sack next to the dwarf orc. And here's what you need to bury your past. By the time Gol left the shop, the sun was setting. Its red rays were barely visible over Samasla's city walls. The occasional beam bounced off the newly dyed red hair. By the time Gol left the shop, the sun was setting. Its red rays were barely visible over Samasla's city walls. The occasional beam bounced off her newly dyed red hair. 2 short swords and a sack of supplies were tucked underneath her cloak. That cloak also hid a set of riveted leather armor made from a flexible brigantine cuirass and reinforced leggings. Gol rushed towards the city's main gate, leaping across canals and slipping through shadowy backstreets. Buzzing with anticipation, she thought, I'll leave this town and lay low. Before long, nobody will remember what I look like. Just short of Samasla's entrance, she saw a man struggling to carry an oversized pack. If I had the time, I'd lighten his load, Gol chuckled to herself. But I gotta put this city behind me, and quick. The man surprised Gol by dropping his pack on the ground. Mumbling and raising his knees, he danced around it. Bewildered, Gol's hazel eyes followed the man's movements. Horns started at the peak of his head, following ashy black hair before tightly coiling near pale vermilion ears. Red skin occasionally peeked out from underneath his warm traveling clothes as he hopped around. His inhuman appearance was accentuated by a thick tail and pupilless gold eyes. Gol inched closer, musing. You don't see many tieflings leaving town, and they're usually not dumb enough to catch people's attention.
Simasla's got a lot of open-minded folks, but a dancing demon child will get a jail cell if they're lucky. Tieflings. These are descendants of demons or humans who have made pacts with demons. They are intrinsically resistant to fire, but not intrinsically evil. Unfortunately, many misjudge them based on their demonic appearance. Skin colors vary from red to purple. Each has a unique horn design, some resembling goats, others rams, and others gazelles. Their tails are thick and flexible, but not particularly strong. Her thoughts were her thoughts were punctuated by the sudden levitation of the man's supplies. A translucent 3-foot wide disc rose up, lifting the pack into the air. It rose a few feet and then stopped around chest height. As the man strolled away, realization dawned on Gol. She sprinted out of the city gate, meeting the tiefling on an uneven dirt road. Her momentum carried her into the red man, knocking him down. Philanthropy, my old pal. Heard you were searching for gems. The tiefling caught out, "Spare me the sales pitch and just call me Phil." His spindly arms strained to push Gol off of him. "I love seeing friends helping friends, so prove you're a pal and stop crushing me." Gol stood up and shot out a hand. "Then let me help you there, pal." "Ugh, appreciate it. But I'll warn you, I don't have any money on me. Not a single silver, gold, or copper coin. It all went into this gear." Phil whipped his tail in the direction of the floating bags. Gol shook her head, wagging a finger in Phil's face. "Don't you worry about money. That sob story of yours, it really got to me." "What made you change your mind?" "And your hair." The tiefling stared at Gol's head, squinting. "I'll tell you on the road. It's a bit of a long story."